By the year 70 of the Common Era, Jerusalem holds something no other city possesses: a temple. Not just any temple. The temple. The only place on earth where the God of Israel receives sacrifice. The only place where priests in linen garments enter the Holy of Holies once each year. Every road in the Jewish world leads here. Every prayer faces this direction. The city wakes before dawn. Always before dawn. Priests ascend the Temple Mount while stars still burn overhead. Their sandals scrape against limestone Herod rebuilt 30 years ago. White stone, marble columns, gold plating that will catch first light and throw it back at the sky. The temple complex covers 35 acres. The outer court already hums with movement even in darkness. Merchants feel their way to stall positions they've claimed for years. Money changers arrange coins by touch. A boy carries a cage of doves up the steps toward the court of women. His father walks 3 steps behind. They've come from Galilee. 4 days of walking. The boy's feet still hurt. Dawn breaks. The city ignites. The court of the Israelites fills with men for morning prayers. Their voices rise together, blend, become something larger than individual sound. A priest inspects a lamb at the altar. His hands move over the animal's body, checking for blemishes. He finds none. Perfect. This matters. Everything about temple worship requires perfection. Unblemished animals, pure vessels, priests without physical defects. The standards are absolute. In the lower city, a woman draws water from a cistern carved into bedrock. She's done this every morning for 23 years. The rope knows her hands, the bucket knows the depth. Jerusalem stores rainwater underground, enormous caverns, stone chambers that could swallow buildings. The city has no river, no spring large enough. Water comes from sky and lives beneath streets. The woman fills her jar, lifts it, 20 pounds on her shoulder. Not a drop spills. The streets narrow as you descend from the Temple Mount. Limestone buildings crowd so close you can touch both walls with outstretched arms. 2 stories, sometimes 3. Flat roofs where families sleep when summer heat makes rooms unbearable. A baker slides open his shop door on a street where 2 donkeys cannot pass each other. His oven has burned all night. The smell reaches 50 paces. Whole wheat for those with money, barley for those without. His hands shape dough without looking, into the fire, out golden. He can make 200 loaves before noon. He will. This is Passover week. The city swells beyond recognition. Jerusalem normally holds 40,000 people. Right now it holds 250,000, maybe more. Pilgrims from Alexandria, from Babylon, from Damascus, from every town in Judea and Galilee. They come because Torah commands it. 3 times each year appear before God in Jerusalem. Passover is the largest, the most sacred. Freedom from Egypt requires sacrifice. A lamb, slaughtered in the temple, eaten in family groups throughout the city. The streets can barely contain the crowds. A merchant from Damascus drives tent stakes into packed earth in the Tyropoeon Valley. He sells spices, cinnamon from trade routes that stretch beyond maps, black pepper worth more than silver by weight, saffron that costs what a laborer earns in 3 months of dawn to dusk work. Next to him, a woman from Jericho stacks dates in pyramids, displays honey in clay jars. The market speaks 3 languages at once: Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek. A shopkeeper switches between all 3 in a single transaction without pausing. His brain operates in multiple worlds simultaneously. The upper city exists in a different universe entirely. Stone mansions occupy the western hill like fortresses, mosaic floors, frescoed walls showing scenes from distant lands, courtyards with reflecting pools and gardens that require more water than 10 families use in a month. Private ritual baths built into the houses, personal mikvayot with marble steps. The high priestly families live here, aristocrats who speak Greek as naturally as Aramaic, who know Roman law as intimately as Torah. A servant polishes bronze in a house that could shelter 30 families from the lower city. He works alone. The room is larger than most homes. The distance between this hill and the streets below isn't measured in steps. It's measured in different species of human existence. Work begins everywhere at the same hour. Stonemasons at the quarries north of the city lift their chisels in the gray light before sunrise. The sound of metal on limestone creates rhythm. never stops. These quarries gave stone for the temple, for city walls, for the mansions. A mason's hands tell the story, calloused until they're more leather than skin, scarred, permanently gray with dust that no amount of washing removes. He's been cutting stone since he was 12. His son works beside him now. 10 years old, already knows which chisel does what. In the textile quarter, a weaver's hands move through her loom, wool thread, dyed blue with indigo that traveled from the coast on the backs of donkeys. Her fingers follow patterns learned from her mother. Who learned from her mother? The loom itself is older than anyone remembers. Wood worn smooth by 3 generations of hands. She'll finish this piece tonight. Sell it tomorrow in the market. Start another at dawn. The work never ends. This isn't complaint. This is simply how cloth exists. A scribe sits in a room barely wider than his shoulders. He writes Torah. Each letter must be exact. Perfect. One mistake ruins the entire sheet of parchment. He uses ink made from gall nuts and iron salts mixed according to formulas passed down through centuries. A reed pen cut fresh this morning. Parchment from sheep or goats. The work takes months, sometimes years for a complete scroll. A finished Torah costs what a farmer earns in a decade. The scribe's eyes burn by midday. The light hurts. He continues anyway. This is sacred work. This demands everything. Money changers sit at wooden tables in the temple's outer court. Coins stacked in neat towers. They never look nervous. Pilgrims arrive with currency from across the known world. Roman denarii stamped with Caesar's face. Greek drachmas. Persian coins with script most people here cannot read. Temple donations require Tyrian shekels. Same silver content every time. The changers convert currency. Take their percentage. A man from Ephesus slides 3 Roman coins across the table. Receives 2 Tyrian shekels back. The rate favors the changer. Always has. Always will. The pilgrim knows this. He pays anyway. What choice exists? Food dictates the rhythm of every day. Morning bread, midday meals, evening supper. The Sabbath requires preparation that begins 2 days before it arrives. A family in the lower city prepares for Friday evening. The mother has checked every single grain of wheat for insects. This takes hours. Torah law forbids consuming certain creatures. Checking isn't optional. She grinds wheat, kneads dough with her daughter. The girl is 13. She'll have her own household within a year. She needs to know these rhythms in her bones. Fish arrive from the Sea of Galilee, packed in salt and stacked in baskets. A fishmonger arranges them in the market. His hands will smell like brine and scale until he dies. He's cleaned fish since he could hold a knife. Knows which species keep longest in this heat, which sell fastest. A customer asks 3 questions. Where did these come from? When were they salted? How long have they been on the road? These questions matter. Freshness determines whether families eat tonight or go hungry. A potter works clay on a wheel in the artisan quarter. His foot pumps the mechanism. His hands rise with spinning clay, shaping jars for olive oil, cooking pots, small lamps that burn oil through twisted linen wicks. The motion becomes meditation. The wheel turns, clay rises, forms, becomes useful. He'll fire these pieces tomorrow, glaze them, sell them to households throughout the city. Every family needs vessels. The demand never stops. Olive oil moves through Jerusalem like blood moves through a body. It lights every lamp, cooks every meal, anoints, sanctifies, purifies. The oil comes from groves outside the walls, from Bethany, from the Mount of Olives visible from the Temple Mount. Merchants press olives in stone mills turned by donkeys that walk circles they've walked 10,000 times. First pressing produces the clearest oil. This goes to the temple. Second pressing serves households. Third pressing becomes lamp fuel. Nothing is wasted. Waste is unthinkable in a city where everything costs everything. Ritual baths operate from before dawn until after dark. Mikvaot scattered throughout the city like vital organs. Stone steps descend into pools filled with rainwater collected in cisterns. Women immerse monthly. Men immerse for ritual purity before entering the temple. The water must be living water, rain fallen from sky, not drawn by human hands. A woman descends the steps. The water covers her completely. She rises, ritually pure. This matters. Purity and impurity structure who can touch what, who can go where, who can participate in what rituals. The invisible becomes law. Children play in narrow spaces between market stalls. A boy throws a leather ball against a limestone wall, catches it, throws it again. The wall has a dent from 10 years of this game. His sister jumps rope with 2 other girls who swing in perfect rhythm. The games are ancient, older than the temple, older than the city. The children speak Aramaic with Jerusalem accents. They know Hebrew from synagogue, Greek from markets. They're growing up trilingual without trying, without even knowing this is unusual. A teacher sits in shade under Solomon's portico. Students gather in a semicircle around him. Boys, mostly, learning Torah. The teacher asks questions. The students answer, debate, challenge each other. This is how Torah is learned, through question, through response, through argument that sharpens understanding. A student challenges the teacher's interpretation of a passage. The teacher's face lights up. This is good. This is exactly right. Torah study requires sharp minds willing to question everything. The afternoon heat becomes unbearable. People retreat to stone houses that stay cool even when the sun turns brutal. Jerusalem sits at elevation, 2,500 feet above the sea. The air is thinner here. The sun feels closer, burns harder. A merchant closes his stall, disappears for 2 hours, returns when heat breaks. This rhythm is understood, embedded. Midday belongs to survival, not commerce. A metal worker's hammer falls on copper in steady rhythm. He makes vessels for the temple, bowls for home use, objects that must meet exact specifications. The hammer knows where to strike. The metal knows how to yield. His apprentice works the bellows, keeps fire hot enough to make metal soft. The boy is 15. In 3 years, he'll open his own shop 3 streets away. The metal worker knows this. He teaches without holding back. Generosity now means quality later. On the Western Hill, a mansion covers an entire city block. 12 bedrooms. A ballroom that could host 200 guests. Staff quarters for 20 servants who live better than most free citizens. 3 miles southeast, 6 families share a wooden building with 1 bathroom and a roof that leaks when it rains. The distance between these 2 points isn't geography, it's species difference. Friday afternoon arrives, the city transforms in hours, shops close, markets empty, stalls get covered, families gather. The Sabbath begins at sundown. Before that moment, every task must finish, fire lit, food prepared, water drawn, lamps filled. A woman moves through her house checking everything twice. The meal sits ready, bread under cloth, wine in clay vessels. She lights the Sabbath lamps, covers her eyes, speaks the blessing. The Sabbath has begun. Work stops. Everything stops. Men walk to synagogue through streets suddenly quiet. Synagogues exist throughout Jerusalem. Small buildings where communities gather. The temple is for sacrifice. Synagogues are for study, for reading Torah, for communal prayer that binds people together. The men gather. Face the temple, even though they're already in Jerusalem. Even though the temple sits less than half a mile away. The direction matters more than the distance. The Sabbath meal brings families to low tables. The father speaks blessings over wine, over bread that his wife baked yesterday. The family eats, talks, laughs, rests. The Sabbath is a gift, a day when work ceases, when people remember they're more than their labor, more than their production. The night stretches long, no one hurries. Hurrying breaks Sabbath. Everything slows to the speed it should always be. A pilgrim from Babylon stands on the Temple Mount as Sabbath ends and stars emerge. He's been traveling 4 months to reach this moment, to stand here. He looks at the temple, limestone glowing in twilight, gold catching last light. This is what he came to see, why he walked 1,000 miles. He'll return home with this image burned into memory. He'll tell his children, his grandchildren, that he stood here, that he saw the temple, that he prayed where Abraham nearly sacrificed Isaac, where Solomon built the first temple, where heaven touches earth. The city reopens after Sabbath with sudden energy. A vegetable seller arranges cucumbers and onions in precise rows at his market stall. His daughter helps, maybe 8 years old. She knows exactly where each basket goes. She's been doing this since she was 5. Her hands move with unconscious competence. A customer approaches. The seller weighs produce on a balance scale, stone weights on one side, vegetables on the other. The scale doesn't lie. The transaction is honest. Has to be. Reputation is everything in a market where everyone knows everyone. A water carrier moves through streets with a leather skin on his back. 40 pounds of water. He sells to households without cisterns, to workshops, to travelers who don't know where public fountains are. A copper cup hangs from his belt. He fills it for a customer. Collects a small bronze coin. Moves on. The skin will be empty by noon. He'll refill. Return to streets. Do it again. The work is simple. The work is necessary. The work is his. Near the temple, Pharisees debate Torah interpretation in Solomon's portico. Their argument is intense but respectful, sharp but not hostile. One man argues a rule applies only in specific circumstances. Another disagrees. Cites precedent from rabbis 2 generations dead. A third offers a compromise that satisfies neither but opens new thinking. This is scholarship. This is how Jewish law develops. Through careful reasoning, through argument, through collective wisdom accumulated over centuries. A carpenter shapes wood in a shop near the Siloam pool. He works with tools his grandfather used. A plane, a saw with teeth he sharpened himself, an adze for rough work. He's making a door frame for a house in the upper city. The measurements must be exact, the joints must be perfect. Wood doesn't forgive mistakes. His hands read grain, know where it wants to split, where it will hold. 30 years working wood and it still surprises him sometimes. Incense smoke drifts from the temple when wind blows southeast. You can smell it miles away. Frankincense, myrrh, spices worth more than most people earn in a year. The smoke rises from the golden altar, disappears into sky. The scent lingers, clings to clothing, to skin, to memory. A woman walking through the market catches the smell, stops, breathes deep, continues her errand. The moment stays with her. A shepherd drives his flock through the city gates just after dawn. 30 sheep, maybe 35. He's walked them from Bethlehem. 6 miles. The sheep know his voice, follow without forcing. He delivers them to a holding pen near the temple. Animals for sacrifice. He collects payment, counts coins twice, begins the walk back. He'll return tomorrow with another flock. This is how he feeds his family. This is what his father did, what his son will do. In a courtyard, women grind grain together. 2 women per stone. One pushes, one pulls. The upper stone rotates over the lower. Grain becomes flour between them. They started at dawn. Their arms ache. They keep rhythm. One woman tells a story about her neighbor's son. The others laugh. The work continues. Pain and laughter exist in the same moment. A tax collector sits at a table near the Damascus gate. He records transactions, collects customs on goods entering Jerusalem. The work makes him wealthy, makes him hated. Tax collectors serve Rome. Everyone knows, everyone resents. The collector counts coins, records amounts in careful Greek script. Doesn't make eye contact. Eye contact invites confrontation. Better to just do the work and go home. Everywhere you look, hands work. A silversmith hammers metal into shapes thin as paper. A rope maker twists hemp fibers into cord strong enough to lift stones. A tanner scrapes hide at the city's edge where the smell won't bother people. A dyer's hands are permanently stained blue. A cheesemaker forms curds in clay vessels. The work is endless. The work is life. A physician examines a patient in a cramped room. The man has had fever for 3 days. The physician asks questions, checks pulse, examines tongue, prescribes rest and certain herbs. No one expects miracles. Medicine is limited. Everyone understands this. They come anyway. Hope outweighs logic. Evening cooking fires multiply throughout the city. Smoke rises from thousands of homes. The smell of food fills every street. Lentil stew, roasted lamb, fresh bread. Families gather at low tables. They eat with their hands, with pieces of bread used to scoop food from shared bowls. Children ask questions. Parents answer. This is how tradition passes from one generation to the next. Through meals, through stories, through daily repetition that builds identity. Night brings different sounds. Dogs bark at nothing. A baby cries 3 houses away. Voices drift from windows. Music from a wedding celebration in the upper city. Flutes, tambourines, singing that carries on cool air. Life continues in darkness. just quieter, just slower, just different. Temple guards patrol the outer courts. They watch for thieves, for troublemakers, for anyone who might cause problems during this crowded week. They carry clubs, no swords. Jewish law forbids weapons in the temple complex. The clubs are enough. The guards know exactly how to use them. A baker walks through empty streets near midnight, alone, going to work. He'll fire his oven, mix dough, have bread ready when the city wakes. Everyone else sleeps. He doesn't. This is what bread requires. Someone has to be awake when everyone else dreams. This city exists for something larger than itself. Not measured by population, not by wealth, not by power. Measured by what happens here. Sacrifice, prayer, study, pilgrimage. Jerusalem is the place where heaven and earth meet, where the divine presence dwells, where every Jewish prayer in the entire world turns its face. A priest stands in the court of the priests as dawn breaks over the eastern wall. Another day begins. He doesn't know this is the last Passover before everything changes. He doesn't know that by late summer, Roman legions will surround these walls, that the temple will burn, that the priests will scatter, that this entire world will end. He only knows this moment, this morning, this prayer, this sacrifice. And right now, that is enough. If you enjoyed this journey through ancient Jerusalem, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, share this video with friends who love history. Help us bring the past back to life, one city at a time. This video aims to portray daily life in Jerusalem during 70 AD based on historical research and available documentation. Our goal is educational, to help viewers understand how ordinary people lived during this specific moment in history. We recognize that historical reconstruction has inherent limitations, and that different sources may present varying perspectives on the past. This content is not intended to offend any individual, group, or community, nor does it claim to represent absolute historical truth. We present this narrative with respect for all cultures, peoples, and experiences, acknowledging that history is complex and multifaceted. If you have additional historical insights or corrections, we welcome respectful discussion in the comments.